Hi, I'm Alden.
And I am Will.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary.
We have a new guest today. Mary, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Mary Goodrich. I'm an EMI advisor at ChattyAF at NTU in Taipei. And today I'm visiting Alden and William here at NCU.
And we're very pleased to have you. And
my pleasure.
It's really exciting to have someone our whole office has full of international experience, but I'm not sure anyone in Fulbright has more international experience than you, Mary. And I mean that in so many different countries that you've lived in and different life experiences that you've had that have now led you to this here in Taiwan. So I just want to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about some of the places that you've lived and the work that you've done?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you the condensed version because I'm been around a while in a lot of places. But I was born in America in the Northwest, mostly Washington and Oregon State. And I had a family that loved to travel. My parents really inspired travel, although we had a big family, so we didn't get to go on overseas trips. But my parents were always going, and they would bring back things, and I really got the bug for it. So when I was in university, I took my first kind of bigger overseas trip to Japan.
Wow.
And spent a summer teaching English there as an exchange, and that just really opened my eyes to the world. And
that really put you on this path.
It really put me on this path.
So, were you sure you were going to be an educator before that?
I really wasn't.
Okay.
I was during university time, I wasn't sure. Actually, I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer.
Oh, okay.
Which now I realize would have been a terrible decision because I'm really not talented that way at all. But it turned out with teaching, you get to do a lot of creating, and I think I was looking for that creative outlet.
Yeah.
And I actually started out as an elementary school teacher where you especially got to be creative and, could design boards for the wall and all those sorts of things. So I got to get that little bit of creativity out. So, so I went to university, and I think it's different than here because in America you don't have to know what you're going to do when you first go to university. Is that way here? Did you have a chance to explore, or do you have to know your major ahead of time?
Somewhat. I mean, you do have to declare a major, but you can always change. And I mean, your first year is to know what you want to do still. But it's not as common to see this sort of idea of I'm going in undecided.
Right. Okay.
Like at maybe a liberal arts school in the States.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of my own background, I was British system is very much like what you're saying there. Very regimented. You're set in what you do, honestly, before you even apply to university. 16, 17 is when you make those decisions. And that is quite dramatic compared to, the flexibility that's offered.
Does anyone know what they want at that age?
No, I mean, I'm not even sure it's reasonable to ask someone at 18, 19, never mind, barely in the middle of high school. But anyway, we're a little off topic.
No, it's good. It's a good comparison.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because, you hit that point in your early 20s where you were like, I am enjoying being an educator.
But even then, I didn't. There's still so many decisions to make. I did that. I started to be an educator. I was teaching elementary school, but I still had a hankering for overseas. So I got my first TESOL certificate. And I had to, again, make a decision. Do I want to teach overseas or teach in America? And I ended up choosing America and for a little while, but then I got married. And my husband also had the interest in traveling. And so we decided that we would go teach overseas together. And so our first stop was China.
Ooh.
And we went to, we lived in Chongqing, and I taught at the Chinese Academy of Science.
Wow.
My husband, who was not a teacher, was also a teacher there. It was a hard learning experience because it was just very different. It was kind of political system and not as much support. And it was a great experience in so many ways, but definitely a learning one for sure.
I can imagine at that time that was a very dramatic change, especially
for sure.
My goodness.
Yeah, and so different than what I was used to. So it was a bit of a shock, but also, again, learning so much about the world and things.
Did you start learning some Chinese there?
Oh, a little bit actually. When I came here, it's like a little, just those few words came, back. Of course, the ni haos and the way we do it. It's like, I remember saying that years and years and years ago.
That's interesting because a lot of our guests that we have that are international education, they have kind of a lot of people have a really strong passion for Chinese, and they started a long time ago, and they have you can see their trajectory for Chinese. So I'm interested to hear with your story with Chinese because you are studying Chinese now.
I am. And
on the side.
I'm very sorry to say that I did not continue my Chinese studies. Or even when I was there, we only learned, just that kind of everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame. I mean, it's a big commitment, and and if you don't know if you're going to be in that system again, and
Right.
But it's interesting to hear about your language learning journey as well as your education journey. Education goes both directions, the giving and taking. Yeah.
But after that time, this is my first time to return to Asia. So a lot of years later, 35 or so years later. So I was really excited to come back and see both China, or coming back to China, but Japan as well, after that much time had passed, and seeing it through the eyes of a young person versus my eyes now. And it was an interesting experience to do that.
What are some of the things that have changed over, the course of time?
Yeah, I don't know if I could put my finger on it exactly because it's been so long, and my memory, of course, is fuzzy. But it was interesting, like the things that I remembered. It's like, oh, I remember being like on the bullet train, and it was brand new back then. It was a really big thing.
Oh, in Japan.
Yeah, back when I was there the first time, and now, of course, it's very, very normal. And then I remembered one thing I loved about Japan was the plastic food in front of every restaurant. And I don't know why that was such a strong memory for me.
Yeah.
It was it's like, oh, you could just pick what you wanted to eat and see what it looked like. And I thought that was really fun. I went back, it's like, oh, they still do that. It wasn't quite as much as I remember, but again, it might be my faulty memory. And then just the politeness and respect, I do remember that. And it was still that way in ways I hadn't remembered. Even this time, like getting on a train, and the workers had just cleaned the train, and then they stood outside and bowed to us. And it was like, wow, I don't know, it was just really a nice experience to go back and see that again.
Oh.
So, but in between all that was a whole nother lifetime of getting married, having children. When my kids were very little, we moved to the UK.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, my kids were age 4 and 6 weeks old, and we moved to Scotland because my husband was getting a PhD at University of St. Andrews, and we lived there for 4 years. And then he got a job at University of Bristol, and we lived there for 5 years. Yeah, which I know you're heading to.
It's
It's a small world.
In this sphere of like international education, the size of the world, quite literally, but it's also small.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. I meet so many people who have these like connections and commonalities.
And
Wow.
You have a British connection.
I lived and
not
studied.
Not that far from Bristol, right? Like
No, I was in South Wales, and I was in Manchester for a while. So
Yeah.
that's where I was. And we also have that, like, we're from the same part of the U.S.
And from
like,
the
broadly.
U.S., yeah.
Yeah. We're both from Western Washington, sort of greater Northwest area. Yeah.
And
That's very interesting.
Yeah, a couple of things I always think about from my time in Scotland and England. And one is that even though the language is still English, of course there's some words that are different, cookies and biscuits and boots and bonnets for cars
Chips
and things.
crisps.
And chips and crisps
Yeah,
and things.
been learning that one recently.
Yeah. So we had fun.
Don't want to
with
make
that.
that mistake.
But I actually had trouble with some of the language, not because it was English, but because the connotations can be very different. And so you think, like, the word doesn't mean quite the same thing it means there. Like words like scheme. Like in America, scheme is kind of a negative
nefarious.
connotation.
Yeah.
But in England, it's like, ooh, a plan. It's a good plan.
Yeah.
It's like it has a very positive connotation.
Yeah.
And the other one I always think about is the word quite.
Oh, quite.
Yeah. So in America, if I say, "Oh, something is quite nice," I mean very nice. If in Britain, if you say it's quite nice, you mean not quite nice. And so I remember telling a professor that I quite liked his lecture, and he just kept saying, "What's wrong with it?" And it's like, no,
He's devastated.
I know, and I'm going, no, I quite liked it. And so there were always like just these things like, okay, we're speaking the same language, but exactly, but not quite. So there was who knows what other misunderstandings.
Poor professors spiraling now.
Yes, I know. It's like,
Now you brought that into within the American context. Yeah.
The other thing that was great about living in Bristol was it was the hub for the low-cost airline to Europe. And so every time we had enough money and time, we were able to go to France, to Italy, to Germany. You could be in Paris in an hour. So fun to explore Europe when we were there. So even towing 2 small children, but it was worth it. It was really great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And then we went back to America.
Yeah. And now you're here.
And now I'm here. I know. Yeah.
It's a whirlwind. Oh, and in between that, you were in the Middle
America.
East.
I taught it. Well, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we're not there yet.
No. I have a lot of years.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we were in America for a while to be with our family, and I taught intensive English at a university in Washington State. And then my kids grew up and they flew the nest, as we say, and we were free to travel again without upsetting their schooling and things. So
freedom.
Yeah. So then I got a job with the U.S. Department of State teaching in Palestine. And that was a
very unique experience.
A very unique and exciting adventure. The program, you don't apply for a specific place. So you don't quite know where you're going to go. You can pick kind of regions that you'd like to go to. When they offered me Palestine, I could have said no, but I was actually really excited about that possibility. But I did have to educate myself a lot.
Yeah.
My husband was excited. He's a history professor, and Roman history and early Christian history are his areas. So
wow, that's perfect.
I know. He was like, it's a candy store, kind of
that's the convergence of all the different...
That's incredible, yeah.
But I did have to educate myself because most of what I knew about Palestine and Israel came from media, which can be very biased, as we know. So I'll have to make a terrible confession, but I didn't even really understand the relationship between like West Bank Palestine and Gaza Palestine. And
it's not clear in media reports.
Yeah, and then just
takes a bit of research.
So many things to pay attention to in the world. I guess that's what my excuse, but. And then just thinking about why there's such conflict there and, what it was going to be like being there. My family and friends were like, no, you can't go to Palestine. Isn't there a war there? It's like, well, it was before this current version of the war, but there's been violence forever, so it's not a new thing that way. But we thought it would be okay. It's not, the violence is directed at like Americans, and it'd be, as long as you're careful where you go and things, it's fine. So, but I had amazing experience there. Like you said, Alden, it's the convergence of so many cultures and religions, like in Jerusalem and things. It's just like, even when you go to different museums and sites, it's like just layers upon layers of different civilizations and who's been there and the mark they've left in that area. So that was really amazing. But then after a year and a few months, then the most recent war broke out, and because we were working sponsored by the State Department, we had to leave. So they sent us to Jordan, and we finished out the year. And Jordan was also another amazing experience. And then, when that finished, I came to Taiwan.
Yeah. It's a fascinating story.
I've had so many different experiences. It's been really. I don't often think of them in like this big totality, like telling someone about all of them. But when I do, it's like, wow, that is quite a...
It's amazing.
But then I think of all the places I haven't been. I've never been to, I've been to Northern Africa, but not Sub-Saharan Africa. I've never been to South or Central America. I haven't been to the Stands or, Eastern Europe. So... there's some left
room for growth.
Room for
That's one way to think about it.
I am really happy you're okay and everything, because I have read of Americans actually perishing at the hands of the IDF in
it does happen.
Territories. So,
in Gaza particularly.
You're safe here in Taiwan, but it's just
still very safe.
Yeah, it sounds like you have an incredible amount of experience. So it's just. It's very good that you're still okay, that family is okay, and that everything is
But I think having a chance to live somewhere like that, it really educates and informs of course, what's real versus what, just the media tells you.
Sure.
And it's not a black and white issue for sure. There's so many angles and perspectives and layers and history and things, and a small taste of that. And then the thing that I was most pleased is the right word, or grateful for, was to to hear Palestinian voices.
Yeah.
Because those aren't voices that we hear very often. And
no, especially now. Yeah.
Especially now. And so and they were just so grateful for someone to listen to them and just to say, this is what it's like here.
Just validate their existence.
Validate their existence, exactly. And somebody cares about them because they don't feel that. They feel like they've been abandoned.
I think that's a really nice point.
And they often, they are abandoned.
Yeah,
basically.
literally. The power of education and the power of quality educators to build up and support. It's more than just teaching and learning. It's just community building. And it's developing these relationships. It's very, very important, I think, even in our jobs now. Yeah.
And to be fair, there's plenty of Israelis who feel that same way too, as black and white as it always seems. So I don't ever like to vilify, this side or that, but it's not okay what's happening.
No. I mean, if you don't mind sharing some of the things that you learned from the people who you were in contact with, maybe some things that aren't addressed in media too much.
I think mostly it's just how much they just want peace, they just want peace after, and there's some people on both sides that kind of shatter that, or it's used because there's maybe there is a terrorist attack or something happens, and that's something I didn't understand. It's like, well, here's what actually I thought before I went, is I thought, if they would just stop attacking, if Palestinians would stop doing terrorist acts against Israel, then there'd be peace in the land, and Israel wouldn't have to counter, And then what I didn't understand is that even without that, Palestine is being settled. There's over nearly 1 million
tiered society.
Settlements. So it's even if they're trying to live in peace, they're still being taken over, I guess, or pushed
subjugated.
Out, I guess is the other word. So I guess it's became more understandable why people react violently sometimes. I don't necessarily condone it, but it's like, well, we've tried.
It's a pressure cooker.
We've tried. We've tried peace. That's not working. Let's try this. So maybe we'll try this and see what happens. But we're actually overall, the main thing is just Palestinians are such a gentle, peaceful, loving community. They're so strong in their family orientation. They're hardworking. They have so few opportunities. And just all the time, more and more and more is being taken away from them. Their dignity, and even for us, we had to kind of follow the rules. Like there's checkpoints everywhere. So not to get into Palestine, but to go the other way, and in between all the settlements. So you pull up, you stop. The soldiers come with their guns. They check everything, and you're may or may not be let through. I traveled a lot for my job. My university had 18 different satellite campuses because they wanted to take education to the people because it's really, really hard to travel. Roads are closed or there's an incident. It's just really, really hard. So they had campuses everywhere. So I would travel to those different campuses all the time. And, sometimes it'd take half hour, sometimes it would take 4 hours because you just never know where you're going to get stuck at or, what checkpoint. I lived in Ramallah, which is about 10 miles, is that 15 kilometers or so from
more or less.
From Jerusalem. And we love to go there because it's such a cool city.
Yeah, historic,
So, but we never, not even once, made it in less than an hour and a half. And that's those 10 miles because you go and there's the border and everybody gets... just takes a really, really long time. Sorry, I've lost track of what I was thinking.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's really important information.
But I think I just always want to give voice to what it's like. Because like in anything, any conflict, we just see such small snippets and only from the news. And so it's really taught me to look a little bit deeper, whenever it's like, this is bad, this is good, it's like, maybe there's some history there, and is it really as black and white as that? So it's really taught me to look at things more deeply and not to take at face value everything that we're fed from the media. But I would go back there again. Americans aren't allowed in Gaza, so except for maybe some aid workers, so we can't go there. But West Bank, which is about 50 miles away, it's almost possible to get a visa, but maybe as a tourist you can, I'm not sure. But we had to leave really abruptly, so I didn't really get to say goodbye or kind of have any kind of ending there. So
yeah.
it was,
You closed that chapter of your life. Yeah.
well, I hope so, or maybe it'll reappear in the future.
Yeah,
again.
never know.
There's a lot of people there I care about, and a lot of people who have been killed. Yeah, so
Yeah, I second what Will said. You've had probably the most diverse array of international experiences out of anyone that either of us have met.
Well, you guys are young. I expect when we talk to you in 30 or 40 years, you're going to have a longer list of, is there a place that you're like keen to go or part of the world that's...
I like the idea of you had a number of places that you lived in before but they were mostly like higher developed countries, right? Places where the difficulty is with integration, not necessarily with day-to-day living. But then you did try in Palestine and to some extent Jordan. I think it's more developing countries. It'd be
Definitely
probably more
developing,
difficult living. I think that's the kind of thing that I in my career, at least once, I would like to try that. Go somewhere that's a challenge. Go somewhere that is underdeveloped, perhaps somewhere that's not directly growing my career even, somewhere that's maybe would be considered a step down, but it's something that, I think is a really important experience especially for education. It's like, if I can tough it out, then I can do this anywhere,
You start seeing other things that you value in those situations as well, I think. Yeah. So it takes your, having been all of us raised in first world countries and
now we're in Taiwan where everything is so convenient and it just seems like
and you think,
in some ways
things work. It's amazing.
In some ways a step up from the United States. So
in some ways I keep thinking about, like, in Taiwan, it's so clean here and so beautiful. Jordan and Palestine they're beautiful countries as well, but they're not clean. There's a lot of people are clean, of course, but there's a lot of garbage,
right, the public.
And it's like, well, why? Why don't they pick that up? It was kind of my first reaction. But then again, when you start to understand, okay, why is there so much? It's like, okay, with the advent of plastics, like the huge production of them 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And then these are poorer countries. They're developing. They haven't had the money that Taiwan has had to put into recycling and all the programs,
municipal services. Everything that would
garbage disposal.
They're fighting a war. They don't have money to put into these things, and so the infrastructure can't. Before it could, but now it can't keep up with the amount that is just everywhere, and so it spills over, and it's. So it's like, it's not that the culture doesn't care, or it's just because this is the circumstances, and their priority is basically survival at the moment, not, and people do try, but it's like, I don't know, cleaning sand off the beach or something. It's really, really hard.
And I think that ties back to what you said about like narrative building in media. It's like, it's not a simple narrative. It's not just that it's a cultural issue or it's that they don't want to develop themselves. It's that there are wider issues at play and many different issues at play that all have different impacts. And I think that's like, especially from our roles, it's something that's becomes evident to us as we do so much interaction with people as part of our work.
I think you asked me before, and I think the thing I really wanted to say that really, really struck me and that I felt so strongly was how the strength of families in those countries, absolutely amazing. They could not believe that I didn't have my adult children with me. For me, it's like, no, off to college, bye-bye, call once a week. We have a great relationship, but it's so different. We're their families. It is the center of everything, and they love and care. I'm sure there's exceptions somewhere along the line, but for the most part, the families were so strong, and the communities that they relied on and enjoyed and celebrated with, and we got to spend time with families during holidays, or they'd invite us to their houses. And I remember not long before I left, I was invited to a professor's house, and he wasn't there yet by the time I finally made it, but because he was coming from a different direction, but his wife was here, and I went to the door and I opened it, and 41 of the female relatives
Wow.
We're all waiting inside for me, all the women, because, it's a little more segregated there.
Right.
But this was just like their sisters and cousins and in-laws, and they were all, excited to, meet the foreigner or meet Mary that they'd heard about, and they welcomed me. And then after a while, some of them left, and then the men came, and I don't know, it's just wonderful. And weddings and suffering and all those things are all done together. And I don't know, I think in America, we have our kind of our little nuclear families, and we have a little bit of that, but it's a really, really different feeling, and I really value that.
I really appreciate like two of the things that you said like in the past few minutes. One of them is kind of looking at the systemic and kind of understanding that the systemic is very important, and it's not that people are dirty or that people don't know how to do something. It's that, there's a system in play. They've been given something, but either the infrastructure isn't there yet, or perhaps it's just not something that they do, and perhaps they shouldn't even have to. And there's also this idea that like, just because we have maybe a lot of wealth, or just because we have a lot of infrastructure, doesn't mean we're more connected or that we understand each other better, because at the end of the day, as much as, the suburban life that I grew up in was safe, there is this aspect of, I know the neighbors right next to me, but 2 doors down, I don't know those people.
Yeah.
Who are they?
And maybe not even the neighbors for a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe not even the ones next door, so it's really important.
It's
really
important.
to
Yeah,
know that.
I think that's. I still don't want my kids to come move in with me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Push comes to shove.
Right.
But I do.
I love you. Please don't come home.
I know, no, that's terrible. No. Of course, I love them dearly. And I'm comforted because I know they wouldn't want to be there. But again, it's our whole culture of that's not how we do it. But I think we are, because of course, we value that independence more than the community. But you lose something by that as well, I think. Yeah. How about you, Alden? Where are places you'd like to go?
No, for sure. I mean, I've talked with Will and Francis about this. I feel like I've brought it up at least a few times, but I really want to come back to Taiwan.
Yeah.
I've kind of
The Taiwanophile for sure.
Taiwanophile.
And why not? What an amazing place.
It's just, the people I've met, the mountains, the
mountains.
The mountains. The viewers have heard of this.
Wait, in which order?
Times.
Yeah.
In which order?
The mountains,
People, mountains,
yeah.
everything else.
They're both awesome.
After some very important information, this is now a ranking video. Number 10, Chilai. No, I'm just kidding. But the idea is, I would like to come back, but in the future, there's a part of me that also wants to go back to the United States and teach there, because I've spent so much time away from it, and I'm kind of seeing what's going on from the outside, and there's a part of me that does want to give back to the people who I, grew up with, who I didn't even go to the same school with, but knew through friends of friends and stuff like that. It's like my
community building.
Yeah, like people on my own island are, dealing with institutional challenges, and I mean, there are so many people who are either like economic migrants or like refugees, that I think it would be important for me to at least go back to America, learn more about it, and see what I can do to actually, provide something to the people who I grew up around.
Right. And if not even services, your kind of global mindset and what you've learned about the world, having that perspective, and when you look at situations and people and things will be really valuable, I think.
I think perspective sharing, like you said, is really crucial. Even just all aspects of, mutual aid, this idea that like, hey, we can sit and have a chat for free. Don't treat this as a lesson, don't pay me for this. Like, let's just chat for free. Let's just, we can work on a skill in English if they're, someone coming from another country, but it doesn't even have to be something for pay. So these are the things that I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
But first, Bristol.
But and that will lead you to your next.
For sure.
I probably mentioned this before, but I'm a strong believer that like life is kind of like a book with chapters.
Yeah, certainly.
And so I see that for myself. It's like, here's this chapter, and then like for you, this chapter for now, it's closing, and then you'll have your Bristol chapter, and then what's next? You're both so young. You have, you've got lifetimes hopefully ahead to. So finish your, continue.
Well, we can only hope to have a career as diverse as yours, Mary, honestly.
I know sometimes, but I think some of these young people I'm meeting here, they've already done a lot, like you, in being so young. And so I think I'll be, it's not really a matter of how many is it. 'Cause all the different things are valuable, whether in the States or whatever experiences you have. Some people, my family, I think I'm the only one that has this type of life. I don't know where that came from out of 6 of us, but all the rest are very much like homebodies, and they do like to travel a little bit, but home. And I kind of miss that. I do. I miss my children. It's the downside. I miss my grandchildren. So there's always trade-offs in whatever you do. I'm excited for you guys too. What's ahead for you? And I don't know what's ahead for me. I don't know. It's like, I'll stay in Taiwan longer, I think, and then a lot of places still to go.
It's a big world.
I know. But then I've got those cute little grandkids I miss a lot, so I don't know.
Hey, maybe take the grandkids.
Yeah, they can
somewhere.
come with you.
I know, maybe
if it's possible. Maybe someday, even if it's just for a summer or something like that, it might be.
And give them that taste, really of seeing a bigger world. My kids grew up in England, and again, although it's not that different from the States, I'm glad they could see America from the outside.
That can be really hard, especially if you haven't done that as a kid.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about things like
good to get going when they're young. Yeah,
seeing how people they like America, but what about like the guns and some people won't travel there, but seeing from the outside how people perceive it is really. It's good to see that too, for sure.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me as well, certainly.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. We had regular trips to the UK when I was a kid, when I grew up in America. And that was very eye-opening for me. I mean, of course, just seeing family and seeing things that are familiar but not the same, and then being around a different culture. Yeah, that pushed me a lot, I think. And it's easier in the UK because it's there's no language barrier. Like you mentioned, there's language difficulties, but I'm not struggling day to day.
Not like English and Mandarin.
Yeah, exactly. I could manage all right. So it's kind of a baby step. I think it's good for me, kind of like going into that, and then I can do something more challenging, like being here. But again, I think still Taiwan. I'm challenged here, but it's not. I don't struggle day to day, I wouldn't say.
No, it's a like as far as getting on day to day, it's easy because it's so much. It's so well organized, and people are so helpful.
Yes.
They're not like kind of in your face, but if you need anything, they are so helpful and kind and welcoming. It's so great, and
which is wonderful. But.
Yeah, and then it's like easy. Even I can get around without. I've only gone the wrong way in the metro once, and that's because I was tired and wasn't paying attention, not because it wasn't well signed or anything. And it's safe. It's just it's a really beautiful place to be. I'm really glad to be here for this chapter of my life. So, and if that chapter isn't done yet, so we'll see what else is going to happen while we're here.
No, I mean,
I love that.
It sounds like you've been to a few places in Taiwan, like Xiaoliuqiu. But I mean, there's even more.
There's so many to go. I know. I keep thinking, I've been to, kind of north and south, and went to Green Island a few weeks ago.
It's a deceptively large island. There's a lot going on.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's the kind of the big sites, but you guys were telling me about all these other things. It's like, wait, where's that? So just when I think my list is starting to get shorter of places to see it starts growing again. And there's so much to explore, and I'm really grateful to have the chance. Taiwan was never really on my radar as far as, I think for many people.
Yeah. It's overlooked very often.
It's a little bit overlooked, but really, it's amazing. And I tell everybody about it. And my daughter and some of her friends came about a month ago, and they were they had such a great time, and they were amazed at how much there is to do and see, and the nature and the cities, and everything from the night markets to hiking, and they were kind of surprised it wasn't a place they had really thought about before until we moved here as well.
Yeah.
So.
I've heard that a lot of people that maybe haven't heard of Taiwan or haven't experienced it, and then they come here and they're just blown away. Yeah. I think it's a really common story, actually. I think it's a lot of ETAs as well, in fairness.
Yeah. There's this sort of transition that a lot of Americans go through where they're like, oh, where is that? Thailand? And then they actually, and then they come here, they see everything, and they think, I've been sleeping on this place for my entire life. What is this?
Yeah.
This is incredible. Wait, well, what do you mean that's in this country? It's really, really cool.
What I always tell people, and I think it's so true, is that it's easy, it's safe, it's clean, people are great, and so it's really comfortable that way. But it's also so interesting, and there's always something
never boring.
Something I've never seen before: a food or a restaurant or a view or a cultural practice, a temple or a festival or something. So it's not just like a mini, like America, where some countries are becoming a bit more homogenized. I think it really has such a fabulous identity and such amazing things. Again, one of my favorite places in Taipei is like the traditional market. I live by Dongmen Market, and I think I literally walk through there maybe every day, maybe 5 or 6 days a week. But every time there's like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's interesting. Or what's that person doing? And, people are recognizing me now, which is really lovely as well. But I don't know, I just find it endlessly fascinating and interesting, and and new things to try and see and do, and you're saying places to explore and learn more about it. So I'm so happy I ended up here. And I love working at Taida in Taipei.
Yeah, center of everything.
The center of everything, I know.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, well, I had nothing to do with it, so I can just, say that's where they put me. But
1% of Taiwan's land mass, or
yeah,
something like that.
They
is
own
Taida
1% of, and every president of Taiwan is a graduate of NTU.
Every single one.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
So I don't know. But I suspect, like everywhere, students are students, and everyone's doing their thing.
Good education is good education.
Yeah, but I think it's also
anyway.
here at NCU you have good education.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that rankings are always reflect people's experiences. But I'm glad to be there. It's been a nice experience. So.
Definitely. Hey, we've been really happy to have you on the podcast and learn from you, and also learn from your sessions that you've had here at NCU and other places.
It's been a real privilege to have you here, Mary.
Oh, you guys
Thank
are
you so much for
kind.
coming today. It's always great.
This has been fun. You guys are awesome.
Thank you very much.
You guys are awesome.
We appreciate it. Mary gave us the ChattyAF endorsement, and so should you. Please tune in next time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.